Hey everyone, Rascally Rasmus here. So on my other Tinkerlands videos, I've gotten a lot of questions from you guys, and I've done my best to answer as many of them as I can. I obviously don't know the answer to everything, but I decided that I will try to go over a bunch of these in video format as well, since I see some repeat questions. On top of that, I'm also going to sprinkle in a few extra tips here and there, and with that, let's just get straight into it. If you started playing Tinkerlands right when the game launched, you might have missed the portable teleporter. So I just want to recommend that you pick this up. It's fairly simple. When you use it, you can teleport to any waypoint on the map without first going to a waypoint. And this can be purchased from the merchant for 2 gold. Likewise, if you started early on, you might have missed that the Mineral Spider and the Slime King now drops a permanent increase each. The Slime King drops this one that gives you a permanent dash, and the Mineral Spider gives you a permanent 10% move speed. So if you had already progressed past these bosses, I'd recommend that you go back and kill them to get these bonuses. Next, I've been getting a lot of questions about how to get the key for the pyramids. I talk about it in my other videos as well, and I've answered in the comments. But the pyramids in the desert, you cannot access them till you've killed the Banshee in the Ghostlands. The Banshee drops the keys for the pyramids, and I go over it in more detail in my boss video for Tinkerlands. Then I'm also getting a bunch of questions about how to summon different bosses again in Tinkerlands. This one, I'm just going to call him the Serpent from now on because I'm done trying to pronounce his name. To resummon him, if you haven't unlocked him in the summoner shop, you need to head back to the jungle. And if you've already gotten all the summoning items from the center of one jungle, you need to re-roll the ship map and go to a different jungle and head to the center and get more summoning items. I'm also getting questions about Baba Yaga. She can be resummoned in a few ways. The main way is that you can kill the serpent again. The moment you kill him, the Baba Yaga will respawn in the swamp, and you can do that whole event over again. Alternatively, you can collect these swamp essence from the new stronger enemies that start spawning in the swamp once you've killed Baba Yaga once or unlocked her once. And then you can go to the Forgotten Altar at the center of the map, and with 50 of them, you can craft a summoning item for Baba Yaga. The same goes for the Corrupted King and Tot. You can craft their summoning items at the Forgotten Altar by using 50 of the mementos, I believe they're called in the desert, and the Corrupted Blood, I think they're called, from the Corrupted King at the center of the cave. If the Corrupted King has despawned, you need to kill Baba Yaga again to respawn him, again unless you have the summoning item unlocked in the summoner's shop. Then I've also had a few questions talking about how to get more peace and quiet from enemies or how to farm specific enemies. And for that, I want to recommend crafting either Swarm Potions or Peaceful Potions, which will either increase or decrease enemy spawn rates. On top of that, the General Merchant also sells a Talisman, which also decreases enemy spawn rate, so you can combine these for the desired effect. And for the people asking how to find a blue crab for the summoning item, I strongly recommend using a Swarm Potion and spending time on the beach, because sooner or later one will spawn. But aside from that, just skip the boss for now and see if you don't encounter one randomly later on. Then Malak3347 has corrected me a bit on the magic tools, as I in my previous video stated that they are just as strong as iron tools, and that is correct. They are tier 2 tools, same as iron, so they can break the same amount of materials, but they do deal significantly more damage than iron, and that is a very good point, so they can be extremely strong early on to use to clear wood at base or really mining as well, as long as you can sustain your mana. Whether it's worth getting them, it probably is, but I would strongly recommend at least getting the flipper so the swim isn't too long for the different corners of the map. I also want to point out that you can consume items directly from inventory. This means that if I want to use my recall scroll, I don't need to have it on my bar. I can just pick it up and left click and I will go home immediately. And you can do this over and over. Similarly, I should also point out that the developers have added a buff keybind. So if you press B on the keyboard, it will consume all your buffs at once. And here it seemingly did not consume my chocolate bar. It seems no, it didn't consume my bread. So only the candy will be consumed, I guess. And I should also add that you can do the same for placing down stuff. You don't need to have it on your bar. You can just pick it out of your inventory and left click and place it down. I've also seen some comments from people struggling with taking down the serpent. For the serpent specifically, I'd strongly recommend a bow combined with a sharpening stone or a piercing round, so the bow will pierce. Ammo bounce, arrow haunches will also be really beneficial, so the arrows can go further and as such pierce more, because the serpent does have multiple hitboxes. And so if you use something that can pierce, you can hit him multiple times and he will be a lot easier to take down. So I'm not doing the whole fight here, but just to show you, I'm now using the bow from the Frog Prince, and with the piercing arrows, they will deal a lot more damage to him. And so now I'm just going to kill him real quick. I quickly want to point out that if you're having this issue, because I did when I initially played the demo where the floor is kind of ugly, it is because you need to place it under the walls as well, so it will connect to the next tile. And yeah, this will make the floor look a lot better. This is probably fairly obvious, but I'm probably just not very smart, so I didn't really figure it out till way too late. So just wanted to put it in here as well. Then I also want to point out that these roads do actually affect your run speed. You do run faster while on the roads compared to on the grass. So if you're traveling somewhere, especially early on when you're kind of slow, then stick to the roads because it is quite a bit faster. In the Ghostlands, there are these statues, and you might have realized already, but I didn't realize right away. But when you right click them, they will actually point you towards the nearest crypt. So if you go this general direction, you will eventually find a crypt, so you can use these statues to essentially navigate while in the Ghostlands. Then I've also had a lot of questions about the mini-bosses here in the Trichroma Islands, and as far as I can tell, there's no particular rhyme or reason in the order they spawn in. They just randomly spawn, so when you get a bunch of red ones in a row, it's just bad luck, and you just have to keep slaying them. And once again, a spawn potion can help by upping the spawn rate, but as far as I can tell, there's nothing you can do to actually manipulate which of them you're getting. So just keep killing and eventually you'll get there. My only suggestion would be to try to go somewhere else on the island, but yeah, as I said, as far as I can tell, there's no difference. I also quickly want to just show on video how you actually unlock new islands. So now that I've gotten the Coraline Fields map here, I can hold left click on the lock to Coraline Fields and it will unlock this island. And this kind of leads into the next thing I want to talk about, because I've had a lot of questions about how to find the Goblin Island and also a bit about how to find the Trichroma Island. And to find these, you have to have unlocked the Ghostlands to unlock the Goblin Island, and you have to have unlocked the Coraline Fields to unlock Trichroma Island. So once you've unlocked either of these, you then need to re-roll your ship, and by doing so, you should now be able to find the Goblin Island and the Trichroma Island respectively. I also want to talk briefly about how to get the Techno Mychotic boots here, which combine both the merman boots and the shoes with chains with the shoes with mushroom and the phantom boots. And so to get the merman boots, you simply need to get a pair of leather boots. You can craft them at the crafting table, and a pair of flippers, which is a drop, and sometimes the traveling merchant will also sell them. The shoes with chains, you need another pair of leather boots and some iron bars, so that's also fairly simple. And here we need a pair of frog legs, which is a common drop as well, along with a spore cloak. And the spore cloak you can only get in chests in the mushroom biome. So to find the spore cloak, you need to go to the mushroom biome, either in Mushroom Islands or in the cave, and find chests. And once you have the spore cloak, you can obviously combine it with the frog legs. So the last piece we need is the phantom boots. And the phantom boots is dropped by the banshee, I believe. Let's have a look. Yes, so once you've slain the banshee, you should be able to farm up all these items and combine them into these Techno Mychotic boots, which are definitely way better than the regular boots because they have all of the effects added onto them. I've also had some questions about the Bloodlust accessory, which is really good for melee builds. It's very beneficial in terms of sustaining your health, and it also adds quite a bit of damage. And so to get this, you need a Fangs amulet and a Vampiric Touch. And Heather's pretty sure she got the Fangs amulets in the jungle. But aside from that, you can definitely get them from Gizmo on the Goblin Island, because we got some there too, along with the Vampiric Touch accessory as well. So I'd recommend just going to Goblin Island and just turning in a bunch of teeth to Gizmo. And once you have both of these, then you should be able to make the Bloodlust accessory. I've also had some questions about how to craft Zephyrus. And to craft Zephyrus, you need the Merman Trident. And you need I'm not going to try to pronounce this, but this staff. And this staff you get from a recipe that you get in the jungle. And so in the temple areas in the jungle, there can spawn a chest. And in this chest, you can find the recipe for this staff. And it can be crafted at the regular anvil. It's possible you can get this recipe other places too, but that's at least where we found the recipe. The Goblin Mask I'm wearing, I've gotten this from Gonks on the Goblin Island. So again, turning in more teeth. There's a lot you can get from the Goblin Island, so yeah, it's just start knocking out some teeth. Then I do just want to confirm that you can in fact evict people and move them in elsewhere, so you just press V on the keyboard and you can say evict, and now my guide is gone and I could easily walk over to another house and move him back in. And then I'm sorry if I butcher your name, but Clebermagnata 1 found that the scythe required for crafting this one, the Reaper of Souls, you get from the enemy in the Ghostlands called the, what is he called? General Skeleton, I believe he's called. Yeah, this guy. He has a 1% drop chance to drop the recipe, so if you're looking for how to craft this, it's just go to farm the general skeletons in the Ghostlands. And for this, I obviously recommend more swarm potions. Early on, you might be talking to the guide and you might try to hand him some potions and you'll see, oh, you can combine these potions and turn them into an accessory so you can have the effect permanent. And this is true and it's really awesome, but I just want to point out that to do this, you do need to acquire this, what is it even called? This crafting station is called the Charm Table. And to get this, you need to go to the underwater area in the Coraline field, so the last zone of the game. And you need to find it down there. And so just be aware that even though you can start collecting potions for this, it might take a while before you'll actually be able to craft the accessories you'd like to craft. And lastly, I've been hearing a lot of how does this game compare to Core Keeper or to Necess or to Terraria, or should you play this game? And for that, I just want to say that I am working on my review. I will talk more about this in detail there, but in general, my answer to this question is it compares well. This game is heavily inspired by all of those games, and if you enjoy any of them, chances are you'll enjoy this too, with the caveat that there are a certain amount of bugs and crashes currently because it is early access. I think the crashes have gotten a lot better after the latest patch, but it is something to keep in mind. And so yeah, I strongly recommend trying it, and if you're considering trying it, I strongly recommend doing the demo first, because then you can test out whether the game is for you or not, as you can play, I believe, 5-10 hours worth of progress in the demo alone, and your save game should carry over to the full version. So the demo is just a free way to try whether the game is for you or not. And so that's going to be it for this video. As mentioned, I'm working on a review. I'm also working on a diary style video of our whole playthrough, and I'm working on some Tainted Grail stuff, and I'm also planning probably a few more things for Tinkerlands. If there's something specific you'd like to see, then I'd be more than happy to hear it down in the comments. Regardless, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, which I hope you did, then do consider liking and subscribing. Anyhow, till next time, have a great day.